The quantum entanglement between Tejo and the tiger changed everything. As the magnificent creature slowly recovered from its life-saving sacrifice, Dr. Nam's instruments detected something that shook the foundation of human understanding about consciousness and connection. Their heart rhythms are perfectly synchronized, Dr. Nam announced to the assembled team 3 days after the incident. Not just similar, but identical down to the millisecond. They're sharing the same quantum cardiac field. Tejo sat beside the tiger in the research station's main laboratory, his hand resting on the creature's massive head. The animal's crystal stripes had regained most of their brilliant glow, pulsing in perfect harmony with Tejo's heartbeat. Both beings looked healthier and stronger than they had ever been apart. Captain O studied the readings with frustration and growing concern. Command wants the creature secured for transport to Earth immediately. The potential military applications are too valuable to ignore. With respect, Captain, Dr. Nam interrupted. That's no longer possible. The quantum entanglement means separating. Them could kill both subjects. The creature literally gave part of its life force to Dr. Kim. They're now two halves of the same quantum existence. Commander Lee stepped forward, his decision clear on his face. I'm invoking colony protection protocols. As senior officer responsible for civilian safety, I cannot allow any action that would endanger Dr. Kim's life. The tiger lifted its great head and looked at Lee with those intelligent eyes. For the first time since their bonding, it made a sound that wasn't a roar. It was softer, almost like a purr, but deeper and more complex. The sound carried meaning that everyone in the room somehow understood without words. Gratitude. Did everyone else hear that? Yoon Da-un asked in amazement. It was like the creature was thanking him. Tejo smiled, feeling the tiger's emotions through their connection. It understands everything we're saying, it always has. The quantum bond just makes it easier for us to sense its intelligence. So Min ran another scan and shook her head in wonder. Tejo, your brain activity shows patterns I've never seen before. The creature isn't just sharing your heart rhythm, it's sharing consciousness itself. What does that mean exactly? Lee asked. It means I can sense its thoughts and feelings, Tejo explained. Not words or human concepts, but something deeper. Emotions, intentions, memories that go back generations. Through the connection, Tejo had learned things about the tiger species that amazed him. They called themselves the Simba, which coincidentally meant the same thing in their quantum language as it did in Earth's Swahili. They were not just intelligent predators, but guardians of their world. The Simba have been watching our colony since we arrived, Tejo continued. They've been deciding whether humans deserve to share their planet. Captain O's eyes narrowed. Are you saying there's some kind of test? Not a test, Tejo said, stroking the tiger's crystal-striped fur. An evaluation. The Simba evolved to form bonds with other sentient species. They're natural healers and protectors, but only for beings they judge worthy of trust. The tiger, which Tejo had begun calling Simba in honor of both their species name and the Earth word for lion, raised its head and began making a series of complex sounds. To everyone's amazement, the sounds formed patterns that seemed almost like language. Dr. Nam's quantum analysis equipment went wild. The creature is generating organized electromagnetic pulses. It's trying to communicate directly. It wants to show us something, Tejo said, standing up as he felt Simba's intention through their bond. There are others, a whole community, of Simba hidden in the deep forest. They want to meet us properly. Over the following weeks, something unprecedented happened on Kepler 442b. The Simba began emerging from the deep forest, not as predators or threats, but as potential partners. There were dozens of them, each with their own unique pattern of crystal stripes, each carrying the same intelligence and capacity for connection that Simba had shown. The colonists learned that the Simba's crystalline fur could do more than regulate heart rhythms. It could accelerate healing, calm mental distress, and even help damaged tissue regenerate. But most importantly, it could form quantum bonds with any species that approach them with genuine care and respect. They're not just healing our bodies, So Min observed as she watched a young Simba help an injured colonist recover from a broken leg. They're healing the barrier between species. Captain O found herself in an impossible position. Earth Command demanded the capture and transport of the creatures, but the evidence was clear that the Simba could not be separated from their bonded partners without killing both beings. More critically, the colonists were experiencing unprecedented levels of health and well-being thanks to their Simba partnerships. "I have to recommend against capture," she finally admitted in her report to Earth. "These beings represent a new form of evolution based on symbiosis rather than competition. Forcing them into captivity would be both impossible and morally wrong." Tejo worked with the research team to establish the first interspecies communication protocols. Through his quantum bond with Simba, he could translate between human language and the complex electromagnetic patterns the Simba used to convey meaning. The conversations that followed changed human understanding of consciousness itself. The Simba didn't think in words or individual concepts like humans. They thought in shared emotions and collective experiences that spanned generations. Their entire species was connected through quantum fields, making them natural empaths and healers. "They've been alone for so long," Tejo explained to the research team after a particularly deep communication session with Simba. "Their planet had no other intelligent species until we arrived. They've been waiting centuries for someone to share their gift of connection with." 6 months after their first encounter, Tejo and Simba stood together in what had become the Harmony Research Center, a new facility where humans and Simba worked together to understand their shared existence. The center housed dozens of bonded pairs, each contributing to a growing understanding of quantum consciousness and interspecies cooperation. Tejo's heart, once weak and irregular, now beat with the strength of two beings sharing one quantum existence. More importantly, his understanding of what it meant to be conscious, to care for another being, and to find meaning and connection had expanded beyond anything he had imagined possible. "Today I learned something that changes everything," he wrote in his research journal that evening, with Simba's massive head resting beside his desk. "The universe's greatest discovery isn't new technology or distant worlds. It's the realization that love and protection transcend species, language, and even the boundaries of individual existence." Through their bond, Simba purred with contentment, its crystal stripes pulsing with the gentle light of shared understanding. Together they had proven that humanity's greatest strength wasn't conquest or dominance, but the courage to open their hearts to connection with beings beyond their own understanding. The tiger had stood guard until his heart beat again. Now, they stood guard together over a new kind of future, where consciousness itself could transcend the limits of single species and individual existence. Commander Lee Hyun stood at the main console of Earth Defense Station Omega-7, watching the red warning lights flash across every screen. The coffee in his cup had gone cold hours ago, but he barely noticed. His attention was fixed on the massive display showing the outer edge of the solar system. "Sir, we're getting another transmission," said Lieutenant Park Mina from her station. Her voice was steady, but Lee Hyun could hear the tension underneath. "Same source, same message pattern." Lee Hyun nodded. "Put it through the main speakers." Again. The bridge fell silent as the alien voice filled the air. It spoke in broken English with strange pauses and harsh sounds that made everyone uncomfortable. "People of Earth, we are the Vorthak Dominion. We have conquered 12 star systems. We have defeated all who opposed us. You will surrender now. You have 72 Earth hours. Submit to our rule or face destruction." The message ended with a sharp electronic tone. Lee Hyun looked around the bridge at his crew. Every face showed the same mix of fear and determination. "How many times have they sent this message?" he asked. 15 times in the last 6 hours, replied Communications Officer Kim Tae. "Same words, same tone. They're not trying to negotiate, they're giving us an order." Lee Hyun walked to the large window that looked out into space. Somewhere beyond the asteroid belt, an alien fleet waited. The long-range sensors had detected over 300 ships, each one larger than anything humanity had ever built. "What do we know about them?" he asked Captain Yang Su, the station's intelligence officer. Yang Su pulled up a holographic display. "The Vorthak Dominion appeared in our galaxy about 50 years ago. They moved from system to system, always the same pattern. They arrive, demand surrender, and the local species gives up without a fight. Without a fight? Lee Hyun turned to look at her. Every single time? Every time, sir. According to our deep space monitoring, they've never had to actually attack a planet. The threat alone is enough. Lieutenant Park Mina spoke up from her station. Sir, I've been analyzing their ship designs from the sensor data. These aren't warships built for battle. They're built for intimidation and occupation. Lee Hyun frowned. What do you mean? Look at this. Park Mina brought up a detailed scan of one of the alien vessels. The hull is thick and impressive looking, but it's not optimized for combat. The weapons are powerful but slow to target. These ships are designed to look scary and handle surrendered populations, not fight wars. The bridge door opened and Admiral Kim Tae entered. Everyone stood at attention, but he waved them back to their positions. Commander Lee, what's our status? The Admiral asked. Sir, the alien fleet is holding position at the edge of the system. They're broadcasting surrender demands every few hours. No sign of aggressive movement, but they're definitely waiting for our response. Admiral Kim Tae studied the tactical display. And what response are they expecting? Based on their pattern in other systems, sir, they expect us to surrender within their time limit. According to our intelligence, no species has ever refused their demands. The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled. And it wasn't a pleasant smile. They don't know us very well, do they? Engineer Quan Ji looked up from his console. Sir, I've been monitoring their communications. They're already preparing for occupation. They're discussing how to divide up Earth's resources and where to place their government centers. They're that confident? Lee Hyun asked. It seems so, sir. They're treating this like a routine business transaction. Show up, make demands, take over. They've done it so many times it's become automatic. Admiral, Kim Tae moved to the Central Command console. Commander Lee, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them to implement Protocol 7. Lee Hyun's eyes widened. Protocol 7 was something most people hoped would never be used. Sir, are you sure? Absolutely. It's time these aliens learned something about humanity. As Lee Hyun sent the coded message to Earth, Lieutenant Park Mina continued her analysis of the alien fleet. Sir, there's something else, she said. I've been tracking their formation. They're not arranged for battle. They're arranged for a parade. A parade? Yang Su asked. Yes, ma'am. Their most impressive ships are in front, with smaller support vessels behind. It's a formation designed to look impressive, not to fight effectively. Admiral Kim Tae nodded slowly. They're so used to winning through fear that they've forgotten how to actually fight. The communication console chimed. Earth Command was responding to their message. Sir, Kim Tae reported, Earth Command confirms Protocol 7 is now active. All hidden installations are coming online. Military reserves are mobilizing. The message is going out to all human colonies. Lee Hyun felt a chill run down his spine. For over 2 centuries, humanity had prepared for this moment. Hidden weapons, secret training programs, emergency protocols that most civilians never knew existed. All of it was now coming to life. What about the civilian population? He asked. They're being moved to secure locations, Admiral Kim Tae replied. But most of them won't panic. We've been preparing them too, even if they didn't always know it. Another transmission came from the alien fleet. This time it was different. People of Earth, you have 60 hours remaining. We detect military activity. This is foolish. Resistance will only make your occupation more difficult. Surrender now, and you will be treated well. Lieutenant Park Mina looked up from her console. Sir, they sound annoyed, like we're not following their script. Good, Admiral Kim Tae said. Let them be annoyed. In 60 hours, they're going to be a lot more than annoyed. Commander Lee Hyun looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, an alien empire was about to learn that humanity was different from every other species they had encountered. The Vorthak Dominion had built their empire on fear and easy victories. They were about to discover that humans didn't surrender. The red warning lights continued to flash, but somehow they didn't seem as threatening anymore. Earth was preparing for war, and for the first time in the Vorthak Dominion's history, they were going to get one. Dr. Yang Su sat in her laboratory deep beneath the surface of Luna. surrounded by holographic displays showing alien ship designs. She had been awake for 36 hours straight, studying every detail the long-range sensors could capture. What she had discovered made her both excited and worried. "The Vorthak ships are impressive," she said to her assistant Dr. Ryuhan, who was analyzing power readings. "But they're not designed for real combat." "What do you mean?" Ryuhan asked, looking up from his data. Yang Su highlighted sections of the alien vessels on her display. "Look at their weapon placement. The guns are huge and powerful, but they're positioned to fire straight ahead. No flexibility for close combat. And their armor is thick in the front but much thinner on the sides and back. So they're designed to intimidate, not fight?" "Exactly. These ships are built to look terrifying and to destroy targets that can't fight back. But against an enemy that fights back, that moves and adapts, they have serious weaknesses." Meanwhile on Earth, General Choi Min stood in a command center that officially didn't exist. Located 500 meters beneath the Rocky Mountains, the facility had been hidden from the world for over a century. Now, for the first time, it was fully operational. "Status report," General Choi Min said to his staff. Colonel Zhang Yu stepped forward. "All hidden bases are now active. We have weapon platforms coming online throughout the solar system. The aliens have no idea they exist." "What about our special forces?" "Ready, sir. We've been training for this scenario for decades. Our teams know how to fight in zero gravity, how to infiltrate alien ships, and how to use captured enemy technology." General Choi Min nodded. "And the civilian population?" "Moving to secure locations as planned. Most people are scared, but they're following orders. They trust that we have a plan." The general looked at the main display showing the Vorthak fleet. "They're still holding position at the edge of the system, still sending the same surrender demands." "Sir," said Captain Li Da, the head of special operations, "our intelligence suggests they've never had to modify their tactics. They show up, make demands, and species surrender. They've never had to plan for actual resistance." On Mars, engineer Quan Ji was working in another secret facility. This one had been disguised as a mining operation for 50 years. In reality, it was a massive weapons factory, and it was now running at full capacity. "How are the modifications coming?" asked his supervisor, Director Park Hyan. "Better than expected," Quan Ji replied, wiping sweat from his forehead. "We're adapting our mining lasers into ship-to-ship weapons. The aliens won't recognize them as military equipment until it's too late." "And the other projects?" "The stealth. Coding is working perfectly. Our ships will be nearly invisible to their sensors. And the boarding pods are ready for testing." Director Park Hyan smiled. "Boarding pods?" "Yes, sir. Small, fast vehicles designed to attach to enemy ships and cut through their hulls. The aliens build their ships to look impressive, but their hulls aren't designed to resist this kind of attack." Back on the command station, Captain Han Sol was preparing for the most dangerous mission of her life. Her ship, the Silent Runner, was equipped with the most advanced stealth technology humanity had ever developed. "Final systems check," she told her crew of 5 specialists. "Stealth systems online," reported Navigator Kim Min. "Sensors modified for close-range alien ship analysis," added Science Officer Li Jin. "Weapons disguised as mining equipment," confirmed Weapons Specialist Oh Su. Captain Han Sol looked at her team. "Remember, we're not just gathering intelligence. We're going to show these aliens that humans don't act like the other species they've conquered." The Silent Runner launched from a hidden base on one of Jupiter's moons. As it approached the alien fleet, its stealth systems made it nearly invisible. The Vorthak sensors, designed to detect large military formations, completely missed the small human ship. "We're inside their perimeter," whispered Kim Min. Through the ship's advanced cameras, they could see the alien vessels up close for the first time. Han Sol was amazed by what she saw. "They're beautiful," she said, "but look at how they're arranged." The Vorthak ships were positioned in perfect geometric patterns, like they were on display. There were no patrol ships, no defensive formations, no signs that they expected any kind of resistance. "Sir," said Li Jin, "I'm detecting massive energy, signatures from their ships, but it's not weapons charging." It's life support and communication systems. They're running their ships like they're already in port. Get us closer to their command ship, Han Solo ordered. As the silent runner moved closer to the largest Vorthak vessel, they could hear alien communications through their modified receivers. The translation is rough, Osu reported, but they're discussing how to organize the occupation of Earth. They're talking about resource extraction, population management, and setting up their government. They're planning victory celebrations, added Li Jin. They've already decided they've won. Captain. Han Solo made a decision that would change everything. Instead of just observing, she ordered her weapons specialist to target one of the smaller alien ships. Fire a warning shot, she commanded. The disguised mining laser fired once, striking the hull of a Vorthak support vessel. The beam cut through the alien armor like it was paper, causing massive damage but not destroying the ship. The effect on the alien fleet was immediate and shocking. Alarms began sounding on every Vorthak ship. Their perfect formations broke apart as ships moved in, panic searching for an enemy they couldn't see. Sir, Kim Min reported, they're sending distress signals to their command ship. They have no idea where we are or what hit them. The alien communications became frantic. The Vorthak had never been attacked by an invisible enemy. Their sensors, designed to track large fleets, couldn't locate a single small stealth ship. One more shot, Han Solo decided. Target their communications array. The second beam struck the command ship's main communication tower, disabling their ability to coordinate with the rest of the fleet. Now we leave, Han Solo ordered. We've delivered our message. As the silent runner disappeared back toward human space, the Vorthak fleet was in chaos. For the first time in their empire's history, they had been attacked by an enemy they couldn't see or understand. Back on Earth, the reports from Captain Han Solo's mission reached General Choi Min within hours. How did they react, he asked. Complete panic, sir. They've never faced stealth technology or hit-and-run tactics. They don't know how to respond. General Choi Min smiled. Good. Let them worry. In 30 hours, when their deadline expires, they're going to discover that humans have many more surprises waiting for them. The Vorthak Dominion had conquered 12 star systems by making species afraid to fight. Now they were about to learn what happened when they faced a species that refused to be afraid. The 72-hour deadline had passed 6 hours ago. Admiral Vextar of the Vorthak Dominion stood on the bridge of his command ship, staring at the tactical display in confusion. This had never happened before. Status report, he demanded, from his communications officer. Sir, the humans have not responded to our surrender demands. We have detected no official communication from their government. What about their military movements? That's the strange part, sir. We see some activity but nothing that looks like preparation for surrender, and we still haven't located the source of yesterday's attacks. Admiral Vextar's mandibles clicked together in annoyance. In 12 previous conquests, species had either surrendered immediately or within hours of the deadline. The humans were breaking the pattern. Begin the intimidation phase, he ordered. Move the fleet closer to their outer planets. They need to see our power. But as the Vorthak fleet began to move, something unexpected happened. The space around them suddenly filled with explosions. Lieutenant Colonel Zhang Yu watched from his hidden command post on one of Saturn's moons as the first phase of humanity's response began. Thousands of small mines, disguised as space debris, had been waiting in the paths the alien fleet would take. Direct hits on 12 ships, reported his tactical officer. No ships destroyed, but significant damage to their hulls and sensor arrays. Excellent, Zhang Yu said. Now they know we're here, but they still don't know where we are. The mines had been positioned over the past 50 years, disguised as natural asteroid fragments. The aliens had detected them but dismissed them as space junk. Now those same harmless rocks were exploding around their ships. On Earth, Commander Seobin sat in a room filled with computer screens. She was humanity's top cyber warfare specialist, and she had been studying Vorthak computer systems for weeks. Their security is impressive, she told her team, but it's designed to keep out other Vorthak, not humans. They've never had to defend against our kind of hacking. What's our target? Asked her assistant programmer Li Wu. Their navigation systems. If we can make their ships think they're somewhere they're not, we can cause chaos in their formations. SEO. Bin's fingers flew across her keyboard. The Vorthak used quantum-encrypted communications, but they had never encountered human quantum hacking techniques. Within minutes, she had found a way into their network. "I'm in," she announced. Beginning. Navigation corruption now. Across the Vorthak fleet, ships began receiving false position data. Their computers told them they were in different locations than they actually were. The perfect formation the aliens prided themselves on began to fall apart as ships tried to maintain positions that didn't exist. Admiral Vextar watched in horror as his fleet scattered across space. "What's happening?" he shouted. "Sir, we're receiving conflicting navigation data. Our ships don't know where they are relative to each other." "Fix it." "We're trying, sir, but the interference is coming from inside our own systems. Someone has hacked our network." This was impossible. The Vorthak had the most advanced computer security in the galaxy. No primitive species should be able to penetrate their systems. Meanwhile, Marine Captain Lee Daw was leading the most dangerous mission of the entire operation. Her team of 12 Marines was aboard a specially designed boarding craft, approaching the largest Vorthak ship. "Remember," she told her team, "these aliens have never been boarded by enemies. They won't know how to react. Use that confusion." The boarding craft looked like a piece of space debris, another trick learned from decades of preparation. As it drifted close to the alien ship, magnetic clamps locked onto the hull. "Cutting through now," reported Sergeant Park Jun, using a plasma torch designed specifically for this mission. The Vorthak hull, built to look impressive rather than to resist boarding, gave way quickly. Within minutes, the Marines were inside the alien ship. "This is incredible," whispered Corporal Kim Soo as they moved through the corridors. "Look at these walls." The interior of the Vorthak ship was designed for ceremony and intimidation. High ceilings, decorative panels, and wide corridors that looked impressive but were terrible for defense. "Split into teams," Captain Lee Daw ordered. "Team 1 takes the engine room. Team 2 heads for the bridge. Team 3 secures the communication center." The Marines moved through the ship like ghosts. The Vorthak crew, used to dealing with surrendered populations, had no training for dealing with armed enemies inside their own ship. "Contact," shouted Sergeant Park Jun over the radio. "3 aliens in the engine room. They're running away." This was the most shocking thing of all. The Vorthak, who had built their empire on fear and intimidation, were running from humans. They had never learned to fight because they had never needed to. Captain Lee Daw reached the bridge first. The door was locked, but the human-designed cutting tools made quick work of it. Inside, she found 5 alien officers hiding behind their consoles. "Surrender," she said in broken Vorthak, a language she had learned specifically for this mission. The alien captain, a tall creature with blue skin and 4 arms, looked at her in terror. "How did you get here? How did you penetrate our ship?" "We walked," Captain Lee Daw replied simply. Back in space, the Vorthak fleet was falling apart. Ships collided with each other as their navigation systems fed them false information. Others sat dead in space, their engines shut down by the mysterious explosions. Several vessels reported being boarded by invisible enemies. Commander Seo Bin watched the chaos from her command center. "Sir," she reported to General Choi Min, "their communications are completely jammed. They can't coordinate between ships." "What about their weapons?" "Most of them are offline. It turns out their weapon systems depend on the same navigation computers. We've compromised. They can't target what they can't locate." Engineer Quan Ji's modified mining ships were now joining the battle. Disguised as civilian vessels, they approached the disabled Vorthak ships and began cutting them apart with industrial lasers. "Sir," reported Captain Oh Min from one of the mining ships, "these alien hulls are like paper. Our equipment is cutting through them easily." The Vorthak had built their ships to look terrifying, but they had never considered that someone might use industrial equipment as weapons. The mining lasers, designed to cut through asteroids, sliced through alien armor. Without difficulty, Admiral Vextar tried desperately to regain control of his fleet. "All ships fall back to defensive positions." But his orders couldn't get through the communication jamming. The ships that could still move were scattered across the solar system, many of them running from human vessels they couldn't detect or understand. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we've lost contact with 17 ships. 23 more report significant damage. The humans are using weapons and tactics we've never encountered." "How is this possible?" Vextar demanded. "They're a primitive species, they should have surrendered." "Sir, I don't think they understand the concept of surrender. For the first time in the Dominion's history, Admiral Vextar was facing an enemy that fought back. An enemy that had prepared for this moment and had weapons designed specifically to defeat his empire's tactics. The humans weren't just resisting, they were winning. "Send a message to all ships," he ordered. "Retreat to the edge of the system. We need to regroup and understand what we're facing." But even as he gave the order, Admiral Vextar knew that everything had changed. The Vorthak Dominion had built their empire on the assumption that all species would surrender when faced with superior force. The humans had just proven that assumption wrong. 3 months had passed since the first Vorthak ship appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. Now Admiral Vextar sat in a small prison cell on Luna, watching through a window as ships from dozens of different species came and went from the busy spaceport outside. The Vorthak Dominion was gone, not just defeated, but completely dissolved. Every world they had conquered was now free, and many of their former subjects were working together in ways that had never been possible under the Empire. Ambassador Lim Na walked into the cell, carrying a datapad and wearing the blue uniform of the New Galactic Freedom Alliance. "Admiral," she said, sitting across from the former Vorthak commander, "the tribunal has reached its decision about your future." Vextar looked up with tired eyes. "Execution, I assume?" "No," Lim Na replied, surprising him. "The freed worlds have voted to offer you a choice. You can stand trial for war crimes, or you can help us understand how to prevent another empire like yours from forming." "Why would you trust me?" "We don't trust you, but we believe that people can change, and we need to learn from the past to build a better future." This conversation was happening throughout the former Dominion territory. Former Vorthak leaders were being offered chances to make up for their past actions by helping to build a better galaxy. On Earth, Commander Park Hyen stood in the newly built Galactic Cooperation Center in New York. Representatives from 43 different species filled the Great Hall, all working together to write the charter for their new alliance. "The basic principle is simple," he told the assembly. "No species has the right to conquer or enslave another. Every world has the right to govern itself." Delegate Kriv Eltar, the former Kalthan leader who had been freed from the prison ship, stood to speak. 3 months ago, my people had given up hope. We thought the Vorthak were too powerful to resist. Then we saw what the humans did, and we remembered that freedom is worth fighting for. Similar speeches came from representatives of every former slave world. The humans had not just defeated an empire, they had reminded the galaxy what freedom meant. Captain Li Jin was now commanding the exploration vessel New Horizon, with a crew that included members from 12 different species. They were mapping regions of space that had been forbidden under Vorthak rule. "Captain," reported Science Officer Cole Zen, a tall, blue-skinned Nexian, "we're detecting massive energy readings from the system ahead." "What kind of energy?" "Unknown, sir. The Vorthak marked this entire region as off-limits. According to their records, no one has explored here for over 40 years. As the New Horizon entered the system, they discovered something amazing. An ancient space station, larger than any structure they had ever seen, orbited a dead star." "Sir," whispered Navigator Osu, "this station is older than any known civilization. It's been here for thousands of years. The discovery was the first of many. Throughout former Dominion space, exploration teams were finding wonders that had been hidden by the Empire's restrictions, ancient ruins, new forms of life, and technologies that could benefit everyone. Dr. Song A was working in her laboratory on Luna, which had become the center of galactic scientific cooperation. Around her, researchers from every freed world shared their knowledge and discoveries. The medical knowledge of the Calthans combined with human surgical techniques is saving thousands of lives, she told her research partner, Dr. Yel Koth, a spider-like being from the Arachnos system. And your human mathematics combined with our quantum physics has opened up new possibilities for faster-than-light travel, Yel Koth replied. This cooperation was happening everywhere. Species that had been isolated under Vorthak rule were now sharing technologies and ideas that benefited everyone. Engineer Quan Ji was overseeing the construction of the first jointly built starship. The vessel combined the best technologies from every member species of the new alliance. The hull design is Nexian, he explained to visiting dignitaries. The engines are based on human designs modified with Calthan power systems. The weapons are actually Vorthak technology, but converted for defensive use only. And the computers? Asked Ambassador Lim Na. A completely new design that combines programming concepts from all our species. It's more advanced than anything any of us could have built alone. The ship was named Unity, and it would serve as the flagship for the Alliance's peacekeeping fleet, not a force for conquest, but a group dedicated to protecting the freedom they had all fought to achieve. Captain Han Sol was leading a very different kind of mission. Her ships were heading toward the former Vorthak homeworld, where the remnants of the Empire were trying to rebuild their society. Sir, reported her communications officer, we're receiving a transmission from the surface. They're requesting permission to join the Galactic Freedom Alliance. This was remarkable. The species, that had built an empire based on conquest and slavery, was now asking to join an alliance based on cooperation and freedom. Put them through, Han Sol ordered. The voice that came through the speakers was tired but hopeful. Human ships, this is Governor Thekvar of the Vorthak Republic. Our old empire is gone, and we want to build something better. Will you help? Us? The request sparked debate throughout the alliance. Many species wanted nothing to do with their former oppressors, but the humans, true to their nature, argued for giving the Vorthak a chance to change. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, Ambassador Lim Na told the Alliance Council. But if we want to build a better galaxy, we have to believe that people can become better than they were. The vote was close, but the Alliance agreed to accept the Vorthak Republic as a probationary member, with strict conditions and oversight. General Choi Min stood on the observation deck of Space Station Liberty, orbiting Earth. Through the windows, he could see ships from across the galaxy coming and going. Trade vessels, exploration ships, diplomatic missions, and scientific expeditions. Hard to believe it all started with one simple decision, said Admiral Kim Tae, joining him at the window. What decision was that? The decision not to surrender. 5 years later, Captain Park Jun commanded a mixed-species crew exploring the furthest edges of known space. His ship, the Pathfinder, carried the flag of the Galactic Freedom Alliance, and a crew that included former enemies working side by side. Captain, reported Science Officer Lix Vel, a green-scaled Zephyrian, we're detecting signs of an artificial structure in the next system. Another ancient ruin? No, sir. This one appears to be active, and it's massive, bigger than anything we've ever encountered. As the Pathfinder approached the mysterious structure, they received a transmission in an unknown language. Sir? Said Communications Officer Li Min excitedly. I think it's a greeting. We've found another intelligent species. Captain Park Jun smiled. Send them our standard first contact message. Tell them we come in peace, and we believe in freedom for all species. The message was transmitted toward the alien structure, carrying with it the hopes and values that had transformed a galaxy. The humans had started as defenders of Earth, but they had become something much more important. They had become the guardians of freedom itself. Throughout the galaxy, on worlds that had once been slave colonies, children learned the story of the humans who refused to surrender. They learned that no matter how powerful an enemy might seem, courage and determination could overcome any obstacle. The Vorthak Dominion was gone, but its defeat had created something much better. A galaxy where different species worked together, where freedom was protected, and where no one had to live in fear of conquest. And it all began with a simple human word that changed everything. No,